Welcome aboard, fellow enthusiasts, as we embark on another incredible video. We're thrilled to present to you our video dedicated to Dungeon magazine. Enjoy! Dungeon, originally published as Dungeon Adventures for TSR Role-Playing Games, was one of the two official magazines targeting consumers of the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game and associated products. Dragon was the other. It was first published by TSR, Inc. in 1986 as a bi-monthly periodical. It went monthly in May 2003 and ceased print publication altogether in September 2007 with issue 150. Starting in 2008, Dungeon and its more widely read sister publication, Dragon, went to an online-only format published by Wizards of the Coast. Both magazines went on hiatus at the end of 2013, with Dungeon issue 221 being the last released. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind TSR and gain a deeper understanding. Dungeon, initially titled Dungeon Adventures, first received mention in the editor's column of Dragon issue 107, March 1986. Lacking a title at that point, it was described as a new magazine filled entirely with modules made available by subscription only that would debut in the late summer or early fall of 1986 and come out once every 2 months. The publication's original editor, Roger East, Moore, elaborated on this basic outline. Dungeon Adventures is a new periodical from TSR, Inc., in which you, the readers, may share your own adventures and scenarios from and gaming with the legions of other fantasy gamers. Each issue offers a number of fairly short but often quite complicated and long-playing modules, selected from the best we receive. What kind of adventures do you want to see? We're going to offer as broad a spectrum of material as possible: dungeon crawls, wilderness campouts, Oriental Adventures modules, solo quests, tournament designs, battle system scenarios, and more. The premiere issue of Dungeon Adventures for TSR Role-Playing Games was undated, but November December 1986 appears on the cover of the subsequent issue, and Moore stated that it had been released prior to the November issue of Dragon. The magazine's format consisted of 64 pages of short and game adventures of various lengths, themes, and tones, written by both amateur and professional fantasy role-playing writers. In conjunction with the first anniversary of Dungeon Adventures, Ken Rolson included a brief review in issue 125, September 1987 of Dragon. Regarding the modules themselves, he called them hip and cheerful, full of the basic fun of the games, and said that they reminded him of the selection of game sessions you find at gaming conventions or in old-fashioned modules. Rolson commented on the anthology format, which allowed writers to publish fine little bits and provided great training grounds for new writers that offered an opportunity to experiment with offbeat themes and tones. Rolson concluded that sophisticated gamers will find a lot to snicker at here, but there are some cute ideas, and added that the writing ranges from young and enthusiastic to polished, and when compared with some of TSR's current modules, the quality of the layout and graphics is quite decent. Let's transition to Wizards of the Coast and uncover its significance. With the sale of TSR due to solvency concerns, the magazine came under the umbrella of Wizards of the Coast in 1997, and the company printed the next 30 issues. With the release of issue in January 2000, the long title printed on the cover was simplified from Dungeon Adventures for TSR Role-Playing Games to Dungeon Adventures. By issue August 2000 it was simplified again to Dungeon. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of Paizo and their profound significance. In late 2002, Paizo Publishing acquired publishing rights to both Dungeon and Dragon magazine titles as part of a move by Wizards of the Coast to divest business ventures not related to its core business. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of return to Wizards of the Coast and examining its broader implications. On April 18, 2007, Wizards of the Coast announced that Paizo would cease publication of Dungeon in September of that year. Scott Rouse, Senior Brand Manager of Dungeons & Dragons at Wizards of the Coast, stated, "Today the internet is where people go to get this kind of information. I'm moving to an online model. We are using a delivery system that broadens our reach to fans around the world." Coinciding with the release of the 4th edition of Dungeons & Dragons in June 2008, Wizards of the Coast launched a website that included online versions of Dungeon & Dragon magazines for subscribers. In this new format, Dungeon, now subtitled a Dungeons & Dragons Role-Playing Games supplement, retained its mandate to deliver adventures of varying lengths and levels, as well as articles with information and advice items. Mainstay columns such as Dungeon Craft written by James Wyatt were retained, and DM-focused articles that formerly appeared in Dragon magazine like Save My Game were incorporated into Dungeon, making it a one-stop shop for DMs. The magazine shifted to a landscape format with the intent of making the articles and adventures more readable on screen. Content was released daily and gathered into PDF compilations on a monthly basis. In May 2011, Wizards of the Coast stopped the monthly compilations and left content in single article format. In October 2012, Wizards of the Coast resumed monthly compilations. In this section, we'll be exploring cessation. In the September 2013 issue of Dragon, an article by Wizards of the Coast game designer and editor Chris Perkins announced that both Dragon and its sibling publication, Dungeon, would be going on hiatus starting January 2014 pending the release of the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition products line. The final online version was issued in December 2013. The successor magazine, called Dragon, was subsequently released online on 30 April 2015. Get ready to uncover the mysteries surrounding content as we navigate its intriguing terrain. Each issue featured a variety of self-contained, pre-scripted, play-tested game scenarios, often called modules, adventures or scenarios. Dungeon Masters DMs could either enact these adventures with their respective player groups as written or adapt them to their own campaign settings. Dungeon aimed to save DMs time and effort in preparing game sessions for their players by providing a full complement of ideas, hooks, plots, adversaries, creatures, illustrations, maps, handouts, and character dialogue. It was a resource containing several modules per issue, significantly cheaper than standard format modules. From Dungeon's founding in 1986, it published content that could be used in a variety of forms of Dungeons & Dragons systems, much like its sister magazine, Dragon. When Wizards of the Coast merged all product lines into one, 3rd edition, Dungeon published exclusively content between September's issue 82 and July's issue 100, which shifted to I. With the release of 4th edition in June 2008, issue 155 saw the I content dropped and focused exclusively on. Like Dragon, Dungeon was cancelled by Wizards of the Coast before the release of 5th edition. The spotlight now falls on Polyhedron as we delve deeper into its details. Polyhedron, the monthly membership publication of the Role-Playing Game Association, was combined with Dungeon into a single magazine beginning with issue 90 January 2002 and lasting until issue 111 June 2004. Many of the Polyhedron sections presented complete mini-games for the system in genres other than fantasy. Editor Eric Mona changed the format in September 2004, starting with issue 114, discontinuing the Polyhedron component and focusing solely on Dungeons & Dragons. Each issue included 3 adventures, one each for low, medium, and high levels. A few issues each year also contained another substantial article which provided further details on the setting of one of the adventures previously. Dungeon almost never had features other than modules. Following the adventures and articles, many issues included the 3-page Dungeon Craft column, at the time written by Monty Cook, as well as a handful of shorter articles on various subjects, collectively titled the Campaign Workbook. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of adventure paths. Beginning in 2003, Dungeon Magazine featured episodic, multi-part adventures referred to as adventure paths, which were designed to take a group of player characters from the beginning of their adventuring career's first level through epic levels 20th and above. As of April 2013, 4 such serials were published: Shackled City, Age of Worms, Savage Tide, and Scales of War. In August 2005, the Shackled City Adventure Path was collected into a hardcover edition with various revisions and corrections, new background information, and a bonus adventure meant to fill a gap near the beginning of the series. Similarly, several shorter campaign arcs typically consisting of 3 parts and various sporadic, open-ended series and side treks were featured in these later issues. Prepare yourself for an eye-opening discussion on recognition in the upcoming portion of this video. Awards: Origins Award for Best Professional Adventure Gaming Magazine of 1989-1991. Origins Award for Best Professional Adventure Gaming Magazine of 1990-2002. Any Award for Best Aid or Accessory 2005. Any awards for Best Cartography World Map of Greyhawk. Issues: Best Adventure More Castle, Issue 112, Best Aid or Accessory Dungeon Magazine, and Best Free Product or Web Enhancement Maps and Handouts, Issues 2006. Any awards for Best Cartography, Best Adventure, and Best Campaign Setting Supplement Shackled City Adventure Path, and Best Free Product or Web Enhancement Age of Worms Overload 2007. Origins Award for Best Fiction Publication of the Year 2006-2007. Any award for Best Free Product Savage Tide Player's Guide. Nominations: Origins Award for Best Role-Playing Games Supplement of the Year 2005, Shackled City Hardcover 2006. Any award for Best Production Values, Best OGL Product, and Best Product Shackled City Adventure Path 2007. Origins Award for Best Fiction Publication of the Year 2006-2007. Any award for Best Adventure Age of Worms Adventure Path. Have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future videos? Let me know in the comments.